Dear beautiful people, today I want to talk to you about the illusion of mental illness. This will be a hot topic, a tremendously hot topic, and if during this video you feel offended, it is because you are attached to illusion. You see, I do practice psychotherapy. So in that sense, I have a license. I am called a medical professional. Now, during my years of psychotherapy practice, I started realizing there is no such thing as mental illness. Mental illness is the story that we tell ourselves to be attached to our societal belief system. You see, we have a story in our belief system of success, of effort, of hard work, of flexibility, of whatever. We have a story in our society. We call it capitalism. We call it a democracy. But what we have here is, in many ways, a social Darwinistic system where greed and fear dictate our lives. Now, when children or teenagers sense the world is mad, they sense society is mad, well then, we are attached to our hamster wheel. We have created an identity from being in the hamster wheel. So we say, you gotta be in the hamster wheel too. And they feel like animals being pushed to their slaughter. And when they respond with fear, with depression, with anxiety, with any form of resistance, we say they're mentally ill. So then we delegate something that we don't want to handle. We don't want to handle the so-called experience of mental illness to mental health care professionals. And then we create huge catalogs of mental illnesses. Stories about what this is. This is a personality disorder. This is schizophrenia. This is psychosis. This is anorexia. This is whatever it is. Well, there are many variations of, let's say, the expression of suffering. But suffering has one cause, one fundamental cause, and this is the disconnection from soul. It is the rejection of soul energy and soul desire. So we have those young people who find out we live in a dystopia. They might not be able to intellectually explain it, but they will have an intuitive sense what is happening here is not love. So they're scared. So we force them to live in our belief system of fear, and we rationalize it. We say, this is reasonable. It is reasonable. Get a solid job, get a solid education. So then we teach them to prefer safety over authenticity. So we educate them to be slaves. At some point, they also sit in the hamster wheel, which is their slave identity, and they confuse it for themselves. And when they have children, they do the same thing. You see, I had dreams when I was young, but it wasn't reasonable. So here's your hamster wheel. And when they don't do as we tell them, we say our child has issues. Our child is in need of reprogramming, and then we ask a professional programmer, which is, for example, often a cognitive behavior therapist, please reprogram my child so it's functioning in the slave system, as it should. And if that doesn't work, we prescribe them medication. This was already described in Aldous Huxley's Dystopia Brave New World, where society would drug themselves with a substance called soma so there could be better slaves, happy slaves. But our souls are raging against the illusion. Our hearts are burning. We do not want to submit to fear, and we want to be an authentic expression of who we are as a child of God. Now we're living in a society that tells us if we're authentically expressing ourselves, we are threatening everyone around us. A classic example for this is that someone who has spiritual insight and experiences mystical vision starts frightening everyone in their family. And then they're suggesting, hey, maybe you want to see a psychiatrist. And they bombard the so-called sick person so long until they do. And then the psychiatrist tells them, and he's educated in a materialistic belief system that is based on the idea you're just a brain and a body, and he will tell, let's say, the child or the client, the patient, whoever it is, whatever the appearance of that being is at the time, well, you're mad. You're experiencing psychosis. You are experiencing depersonalization. You are experiencing derealization. You're experiencing hearing voices. If my idea of reason is illusion, if I'm attached to a materialistic ideology and I have a doctor's degree, then this patient is threatening my identity. They speak of something beyond physical reality. They say, well, derealization means simply they're realizing this here is not real. It's not real. There's something else. Depersonalization, it means they have been going beyond the ego. They're realizing I'm not the person. They're waking up. Hearing voices is the beginning of telepathy. Hallucinations is the beginning of spiritual insight. But we tell them that they're mad. And we tell them, if you don't fall back into the fear slave system, we're going to punish you, we're going to reject you. So then, if they don't want to be rejected, they hold on to the role that has been programmed into them in society, and then they truly fall into psychosis, because their ego gets into resistance to spiritual experience. And then we give them antipsychotics. We give them antipsychotics because they block spiritual experience. And then we pat ourselves on our shoulders and say, well, we healed this person. Because we're under the illusion this is a person. No, this is a soul experiencing a person. This is a tremendous difference. And this violence that we call reason, that we call science, we have imposed on many of our children. And it doesn't matter if our ideology is capitalism or science or religion. However we label our belief system, however we are under the illusion that our belief system is more superior than someone else's. All belief systems are illusion. All belief systems are not reality. Only when we go beyond beliefs, awakening occurs and our true nature is realized. As such, there is no mental illness. It is simply the soul creating symptoms that we call mental illness to wake us up. It is a wake-up call. Listen. You're violating yourself by buying into the fear system. Listen, you're violating yourself because you choose to be a slave instead of being an awakened soul on this planet. So in that sense, I feel a little bit like a Trojan horse. I feel that my psychotherapy license is what people attract to me. In that sense, they have a crisis and they come to me. And I'm supposed to assist them into eliminating mental illness. And I know this is not true. I'm giving them tools so they can wake up to who they are. And then mental illness disappears. And it does not matter if that mental illness has the appearance of a personality disorder, of depression, or whatever diagnosis code we want to give it. The cause is an energy blockage. It is the blocking out of the soul energy because of fear. Because we choose comfort and survival over truth. So then, we constantly support a society and keep an unconscious system in place because we have created the illusion of mental illness. Instead of speaking out about what it actually is, then those who are conscious enough, who are sensitive enough to see the madness, are those who respond to it with the appearance of mental illness. For those of us who are most conscious, we reprogram them to become a drone in the system. Because their truth offends us, offends our attachment to what we call reason and rationality. But it's madness. It's a world of a sense of separation, not of unity. It's a world out of fear that we have created, where we compete with each other instead of lifting each other up and elevating each other. It is time to stop this madness. It is time to realize that human beings react to this society because the society is sick, and mental illness is their expression of that sickness. So those who are the most mad call others mad and call others mentally ill. This is a profound understanding. Psychiatry is not the solution. It is the sign of madness. Contemplate about that. Be well.